She's very happy to be here. Welcome back. I'm your host, Alissa, your #1 critic for edible greens and horror screams. If you haven't done so already, please hit like and subscribe, and prepare yourselves for episode 2 of High Reviews. So, it's Pride Month. And with that being said, I intentionally made a choice here to not only represent, and yes, we are members. I wanted to make sure that I chose a film that was LGBTQ plus representing. I wanted to make sure that I saw something that I have not seen before, and horror, of course, in that realm. So when I did a search, a little brief search, I came across something called the Carmilla Movie. I had never heard of this, had no idea that Carmilla is based on a web series. I just saw that mentioned briefly when I saw that the film was available for viewing, and read a little bit of the description. It's kind of a vampire romance with horror elements, is pretty much all I know. I did not, as you know, I don't like to do spoilers. I don't like to delve into anything. I don't want to get anything spoiled for me too much. So that's as far as I went. I love vampire romances, obviously, especially like lesbian. And so with that being said, I was like, all right, let's do it. And the fact that there's some background here about it being a well-known web series in the queer and or LGBTQ plus community, I can't believe I haven't even heard of it. So I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole later. But initially, we're gonna start with the Carmilla Movie. I'm just gonna call it Carmilla for short. And then perhaps we'll see what I can find out later about the web series itself. All right. Fucking hair. Always getting in the way. Long-haired femmes. We have to deal with hair. And yeah, it's a personal choice. And of course, it's a pain in the ass, but I really do love my hair. So, okay. And to go with the LGBTQ plus film Carmilla, I am going to do something even newer, even more different than I have as far as the THC world goes, because like I said, I'm also going to have an edible while watching the film, talk about that, give you the review on that in addition to the movie itself. This time, I'm going to have my first ever THC drink. So this is Tempter's Cannabis Infused. It's a 1-to-1, 10 milligram THC, 10 milligram CBD. Strawberry flavor, which is always quite good. Hopefully it tastes delicious. And it's a hybrid blend. So, I've never done this before. I've heard that THC drinks are very fast acting. We'll see how it goes. And I will let you know, of course. But I'm very excited to try this too, along with Carmilla. So, let's get to going. 1 edible, 1 woman, 1 scary movie. It's time for High Reviews. If you couldn't tell, I really enjoyed the Carmilla Movie. And I'm also going to give the recap on the Tempter's drink, but first we're going to talk about the film. So, as I mentioned before, I did not know that Carmilla was a web series first. There was a 3-season web series created, and then they did the film. And what I found really interesting, especially from a filmmaker's perspective, indie filmmaking, as I've mentioned before, that it was made with just under $1 million budget, and a third of that budget was crowdfunding, and from the fan base, a third of the budget. That's unreal. That's amazing. That's something that every filmmaker or creators or team want, because 1, it's in high demand. 2, you know you're going to appeal to the right audience and people that really want to see this, and that you already have a base there. But the fact that they wanted it so much that they raised a third of their budget. Incredible. I found that fact really it made me happy, not only from a filmmaking perspective, but also from this type of film being, LGBTQ plus, because I feel like we don't get a lot of traction on something like that, or a lot of highlighting how much fans want this, and it's speaking to a particular audience that needs that representation, that needs that. So that's something, first of all, that when I did a little bit of my rabbit hole dive after watching the movie, made me really happy to find. I thought the movie was really cute. It's a really simple story. Now, I haven't watched the web series, of course, as I mentioned, so I feel like I'd like to know from all of you in the comments, those who have seen the web series prior or know anything extra about this, how you felt that the movie did. Did it represent the story well from the web series? Did it have a continuation? Did it make sense? Overall, did you like its execution? Did you feel that it stayed true to the web series itself? So I'd love to know about that in the comments. Now, with that being said, the movie is a standalone, because that's how I'm looking at it. It made me want to, now I feel like I do want to watch the web series, because I want to know how all this started. But as a standalone for the film, I feel that it really can just be seen as is, because without my watching the web series, I feel like in the film, the Carmilla Movie, that there were some things that were mentioned as part of the backstory, or prior to this point, but it wasn't anything that I felt like I couldn't follow. I don't know some of the comments that were made as far as what happened prior for Carmilla, the way she is when the movie starts, as I'm avoiding spoilers here. But as the way the movie starts, there's obviously some backstory as to how we got to that point. I don't know any of that, but it doesn't really matter, because it's a pretty simple, straightforward concept as to what's happening in the movie itself now, in that time. And it was easy to follow. It wasn't too much where I couldn't understand what's going on, who these characters are. It was very obvious to me that the characters Carmilla and Laura, they're together. They are a very established couple. So being part of the rainbow myself, I really, really have to say that I appreciate not only the chemistry between the two leads. Alissa and Natasha were wonderful. I feel like, of course, someone could speak to the fact that they've had a long-standing history. But even so, it's still showing up well on screen for this movie. One could say, oh, you could get tired of that over time, or the actors get tired of it. Not the case. I felt that Alissa and Natasha did a wonderful job of not only just playing Carmilla and Laura on their own, as their characters and their representation of those characters, but together their chemistry was just so natural and beautiful. I felt really authentic, and they obviously played very well together, and staying true to these characters, even though, again, I don't know the history, but I have a feeling it only got better over time. And I really do think I need to go down a rabbit hole of watching the web series if it's available to me. But anyways, coming back to it, another aspect of Carmilla and Laura's relationship is that they are femme with femme. Now, that's really important for me to point out, and it means a lot to me, because I am a femme lesbian and my wife is femme. And in the past, when I came out when I was younger, and also just over the course of years within LGBTQ plus communities and encountering different people over time, I have to say that unfortunately I was on the receiving end of not being accepted a lot in that way, even within my own community, which was really disheartening. And I couldn't understand it, because that's who I'm attracted to. And that pairing, I would get actually direct questions from people within the rainbow community saying, you know, you're a femme, why are you with another femme? That doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I know it's pretty incredible that even happened, honestly. And I was even confused by it because I didn't look the other way thinking anything odd or wondering the opposite or other pairings or what have you. And I couldn't, it really blew my mind that within the community itself that I was shunned for that or questioned for that or judged for that. And so seeing a movie like this, the Carmilla Movie, and seeing femme with femme and it just being represented, I feel seen. My wife, I know she felt seen as far as when we've watched other films that have that. And I have to say that I feel like there aren't a lot of them. And also on top of that, a lot of queer relationships or I feel like in particular, because I've watched a lot of femme with femme, that they're represented in a way that it's always a tragedy. They cheat on each other or something horrible happens. And I really appreciated that this film was just straightforward in they have a great, loving, caring relationship, that they're very dedicated to the relationship and each other, and they're selfless a lot. And that's just it. It's simple, it's straightforward, and that representation meant a lot to me. I felt seen, and I felt like, okay, maybe things have progressed a bit where femme with femme is not misunderstood as much or just judged so harshly. And I hope that has improved. And I feel like that was something that stuck out to me that I really loved about this film. And then as far as the movie itself, the story, this was definitely not scary. I realized after watching it that was not the intention. It definitely has a vibe of being campy and fun and really funny. As you'll see when I was watching it, I laughed quite a bit. There's these witty lines that weren't like, trying to be, I'm really trying to be funny. It's just the way they were delivered. The actors did a great job too. Like every character was like cute and goofy and served a great purpose. I loved the ensemble that was there. It was very clear that everyone worked really well together. They had a great ensemble, great atmosphere. They played off of each other where it wasn't over the top, and it felt pretty natural and great. Each character had their own obvious presence that was unique, and there was I felt like a great representation of the rainbow. This definitely was an LGBTQ plus film. It was for us, absolutely 100%. There were things that were relatable, I feel like, to most of us that we could relate to in the rainbow community, that we are like, oh, yep, I know what that's about, or I can feel the tension here about something that maybe I experienced in a relationship, or even just when flirting with someone, or your gaydar is going off. I felt like I was in it with the entire movie, and it was so relatable and enjoyable, and not this tragedy in how it ends. Vampire films, I know there's an array of them over the years. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of LGBTQ plus types of movies like that. I know that there are some out there. I haven't seen, Bit is one that I haven't seen, and I have thought about watching that. But when I found out about Carmilla, I was set on this. There's also in the past I've seen They Hunger, which has Susan Sarandon and Catherine Deneuve. I really do like that movie, although there are some aspects of it that I don't, and I have some mixed feelings on it. But the essence of those two and their characters and what occurs, it's a very dark, kind of moody vampire film. Not a fun, light watch. But to come back to it with Carmilla, I liked that wasn't the entire focus. It really wasn't. And it wasn't also it also was not this romanticized typical vampire film where it's like, okay, I'm sacrificing my human life to be with you, and or Carmilla, is trying to lure and put Laura under a spell to take her life to have her for eternity or whatever. I know that there were elements in a way with the storytelling, but really that wasn't the main focus. Carmilla wasn't like that. And again, maybe it was different in the web series, but for the movie, I liked that wasn't the main thing. Yes, she's a vampire and Laura's human. However, it wasn't the main thing that was focused on in this. It was more about trying to save their friends. It was more about true selfless love between them. And making sacrifices in order to protect each other, to protect who they care about. And obviously there's some history there from the web series that I'm not familiar with, but I liked that it wasn't a typical vampire film where it was this somewhat, I would say, manipulative, romanticized murder thing. I've seen a lot of that. For example, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I have a special place in my heart for that movie, but when I've watched it more recently, I realized how it's really not a healthy relationship at all. And I know most people probably would be like, well, a vampire is a monster, so of course not. And it's like, yeah, but there can be other stories. We can do different interpretations. Don't even get me started on Twilight and how awful that is. I am not a Twilight fan. If you hate that about me, fine, but I will never get on board with Twilight and that relationship and how toxic it is, and also just how terrible those movies are. I am in the camp of, I'll watch it with riff tracks. So, just so you know. Coming back to Carmilla, I thought the vampire approach was a little bit different and not romanticized in a bad way or an unhealthy way. It made it, of course, because I'm definitely a person that I like, erotic vampirism, but I'm also particular about how it's done, where it's not done in a way that's harming others. It's more like, ooh, that's just appealing. I'm trying to remember her name. In The L Word, Alice was dating her, and she was very considerate, caring, and honest, and gave Alice a choice. So that kind of flirtatious eroticism is what I'm about. I still want to know from y'all out there who have watched the web series, how do you feel about the movie itself? Do you feel like it did it justice? Did it continue the story well? Was the web series better? Would love to hear your comments on that. So now I want to give my review on the Tempter's strawberry flavored THC drink. As I mentioned before, it was a 1-to-1, 10 milligrams THC, 10 milligrams CBD, and I drank the whole can. It was 2 servings, but I drank the whole can. I was told it was fast acting. That's true. It absolutely was. It not fast acting in the way that it hit me like a truck or anything like that, because I don't think that would be very much, it wouldn't be very fun. I don't really like when something takes effect in that degree. It's a little too much, and then I feel like I'm going way up and I'm not sure when it's going to end. So don't really enjoy that. That did not happen. It felt very, first of all, it tasted delicious. It was really yummy. I did not feel like I tasted, I didn't feel like I tasted anything weird or skunky or the THC itself. And the strawberry flavor was it was almost like a strawberry spritz, as if someone put fresh strawberries in some water and some spritzy water. And it was very crisp and tasty in that way. And I drank, the whole can. And then after, it didn't take too long, I would say 10, 15 minutes maybe, I started feeling the effects, and it was just very calming. And it lasted, I would say, probably an hour. So most of the movie, it felt very calming, relaxed. I very much enjoyed it. I feel like I could have drank a second can, and it would have just continued on. It wouldn't have overdone it. It wouldn't have been feeling like, oh, I need to chase that to get another one. Not at all. I just would have enjoyed another can, and I think it would have just kept things coasting in a very calm, easygoing, enjoyable ride for the rest of it. I would absolutely have the strawberry again. I would definitely try another flavor that they have, probably to just experience something else. So definitely recommend it if you're looking for something really easygoing and flavorful that you can just enjoy, and it does have a noticeable effect that is very pleasant. All right, y'all. So that kind of wraps my recap of both the Carmilla movie and the Tempter's THC drink for episode 2 of High Reviews. I really want to thank you again for watching. I would really appreciate it if you would hit like and subscribe. As I said before, I'm going to continue putting these out. I already have some ideas brewing for some additional ones. I think the next one I'm really going to go scary this time. I really want to watch a scary movie and kind of hope it really jars me. I'd like to ask you, in addition to liking and subscribing, because you enjoy this content and you enjoy hearing from me, would love comments from you for movie recommendations, for horror film recommendations, and then also comments and suggestions or recommendations for edibles that I could try. I am open. Anything that you would like to throw at me for a movie, for an edible. And again, if you want to recommend a combo, the movie and an edible to pair together, would love to read those. Would love to just read your comments in general and how you're feeling about, this content, and anything else you'd like to say. But I will definitely look for your comments out there for any suggestions or recommendations as well, and to be interactive with y'all. And also, special note, for all of you out there who are a part of the beautiful rainbow that we all make up in this world as individuals, don't change for anyone. Know that you are not alone, and that we are here. We exist. We've always been here, and we're not going anywhere. Myself, my wife, all of us. Happy Pride Month. Enjoy yourselves. Love who you are, because I love you. I'll see you here next time for another High Reviews.